So we have an interesting development in midterm. Well, it's after midterm elections. So this guy here, Mark Garcia, he won the seat that Katie Hill. Well, she had to bow out because of her proclivities, if you will, ethics violations, yada 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 yada. But this guy, about a year older than me, surprisingly, he just took over the seat. He beat Christy Smith pretty handedly, actually. Quick background on him: he's the son of Mexican immigrants. He was born in Santa Clarita, California. Not the same Santa Clarita Diet. He did go to the U.S. Naval Academy, and he earned a master's arts degree in security policy from Georgetown. Okay. He was also a fighter pilot, and he did a couple of missions in out of the Iraq War. Logging, I say a couple, 1,400 hours in the cockpit. Interesting. Then after that, he went to Raytheon, which most, if you know anything about aviation, a lot of the pilots and crew members and mechanics, they will go to like Dynacorp, Raytheon, Boeing, etc. for jobs because it's an easy transition because you know a lot of the people that you work with. But interestingly enough, that's for him. And then the other, this is the California number 25 district that was Republican for a while. Then Katie Hill got it, and then in 2018 she had to bow out, and then another Republican pulled in. I don't know. He seems like a decent guy. Good for him. Let's see. Tom Tiffany. The guy who had it before him was another Republican, I think. He was on the Real World. I think I saw the first couple of the editions of the Real World, and I didn't notice him popping up. But apparently he was in the Real World, and he became like that district's attorney general, and then became the congressman for that district, and then Wisconsin number 7. And then he retired early because I think his daughter had like a heart defect, and so he wanted to spend more time with her. Noble cause. And then this guy, Tom Tiffany, beat the Democrat he was going against handedly, if you will. He was a state senator, I think. So for a long time, and this guy is a pretty old dude. It's like in his 62, looks like. Okay, cool. You can see his stats here. Wisconsin Senate, 12-16. And then he beat Tricia Zunker handedly, if you will, by 15-ish points. 14.4 if you want to get technical. Okay, so let's talk about Mike Garcia. This is from CBS News. His Republican veteran Mike Garcia held on to his lead in California's special election for the 25th Congressional District. It's above Los Angeles. Pretty big area-ish. Will become the first Republican to flip a seat held by a Democrat in the state since 1998. Damn. Winning former Representative Katie Hill's seat. Garcia stopped short of a full-fledged victory speech on a call with supporters late Tuesday night. As a result, showed him ahead of Democratic State Assemblywoman Christy Smith by double digits. But by Wednesday morning, Garcia was declaring victory. Saying after seeing the results last night, it is clear our message of lower taxes and ensuring we don't take liberal Sacramento dysfunction to Washington prevailed. Good luck, Garcia. For too long, the people of our district have not had representation. If you're a Republican in California, you don't get the representation you deserve. Trust me on this. It's not that I know. Even though I grew up in California, born there, it wasn't always like that. In the late 70s into the 80s, there was some Republican, it was a Republican stronghold for the most part in some instances. And then, well, people started moving in who had other ideas, and they just wrecked the state, as you can see with San Francisco and its poop policy, if you will. So, anyways, we'll continue on here. His victory was a welcome sign for House Republicans. Coming in a district, Hillary Clinton had won by 7 points in 2016, and a race for a seat that had been held by a Democrat. Hill, who flipped a seat by 8 points, surprisingly, it's kind of a weird thing. It went up by 8, and then it went, even though this is a sort of like they're going to do another election, obviously, here in 5 months, and the same people are going to run again. including with Mr. Tiffany as well. It's kind of funny how the seat flipped by 8 points, and then how do we call it? It went like almost back to 22 the other way. I don't know. Kind of weird. Resigned in 2019 after admitting to an affair with a campaign staffer. We all know about that. Don't need to get into it. He's a Navy fighter pilot, was the son of a Mexican immigrant who's viewed as an appealing candidate, a good outsider fit for Republicans in the district. As the pandemic swept across the country after he advanced through the March primaries, which Smith led, Garcia's campaign quickly adapted to the times, holding telethon and town halls. In the final weeks of the campaign, national Democratic figures such as Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Senator Kamala Heels in the Air Harris have lavished their support Smith through endorsements and social media pushes. Interestingly enough, that didn't work. It still flipped negative, or still flipped 22 points in the other direction. That's kind of crazy. Trump and national Republicans advocated for Garcia, particularly in the last weekend before Election Day, and they complained about the opening of a new in-person voting center in Lancaster. I heard about this. I think Lancaster's a Democrat area, which is surprising. Lancaster's in the middle of frickin' nowhere, which they claimed gave Democrats a unfair edge. Dems are trying to steal the Mike Garcia congressional race in California. Republicans get out and vote for your terrific candidate ASAP. That's what Trump said. Paul Mitchell, vice president of Nonpartisan Political Data Incorporated, said the new voting center was not likely to make any notable impact. This is a tempest in a teapot in the middle of the desert during the pandemic. That's true. If you know anything about Lancaster, it was shown in the movie Spies Like Us. Had that underground base. It was like in a abandoned drive-in movie theater. That's how Lancaster is. It's like middle of nowhere, like desert, like Barstow, Lancaster. What other places? Just a godforsaken place. No offense to anybody who lives out there, but you know what I'm talking about. Financial support for Garcia, who consistently tied with or slightly lagged behind Smith fundraising, proved useful in the end. The House Republican campaign arm spent $1 million on ad buying in April. The Congressional Leadership Fund spent $600,000 on ads and anti-Smith mailers. The Republican National Committee and Republican Party of California spent nearly $1 million to support Garcia through field staff and targeted mailers. While Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee also spent $1 million in ad buy. Smith, Democrat-backed House Majority PAC, didn't spend anything past the primaries. Interesting. It's almost like they knew something was up. Interesting. Democrats expect the registration advantage and turnout from the presidential race to help them take back the seat in November. We'll see about that. When Garcia and Smith will face off again in a grudge match. One indicator of this came on Monday when HMP announced that they have reserved $3.25 million in ads for Los Angeles market in the fall. Still, you don't want to say you're going to lose and then not spend the money, knowing that you're going to win. I don't see if you're going to win, you win. You don't go, well, we'll sort of pull back and do like a retrograde and say, and then we save face, like, oh, we didn't spend that much money, but we'll get them in November. Really? That's 8 points, and you got to come up through. Even though, what's going on in the world, which begs the question. You know that has been a bunch of Republicans out there that said, I don't care, I'm voting for this guy, hell or high water. Why wouldn't Democrats do that? I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing to just take the L when you don't have to take the L. So now they're going to say, well, we saved all this money we're going to spend in November or coming up to it. Really? Whatever. Smith's concession statement looked ahead to the next race and a vigorous debate on issues in the incoming months, including health care, job. Tiffany, we'll talk about him. That's really about it. But again, why would you say, well, I'm just going to take the L? You don't lose for the sake of losing, knowing that, well, we'll just get him in November. You try to win every... Even, when... like when two football teams are playing, one's like beating the crap out of the one. The other team doesn't, like, even though they're in garbage time, you don't... I mean, yeah, you get the second or third stringers in there, but you still try to win. You still try to, show the coach or whatever, hey, we can do it. This just tells me that they wanted to take the L and just, well, let's get him in November. Okay. Doesn't make any sense. Okay. Now, for Wisconsin District 7, which is kind of interesting, here's Congressman-elect Tom Tiffany will head to Washington next week after decisive special election victory. Congressman-elect Republican State Senator Tom Tiffany expects to head to Washington, D.C. next week because, according to him, we have to make sure that we get those people who are unemployed and those businesses who are closed through no fault of their own. And we get back to up and running. Typical standard boilerplate response. Can't blame him for that. He's not going to go out there and, start hooping and hollering and, whipping around his cowboy Hyatt because it's Wisconsin and they got cheese. Why would they do that? The district went the way that people thought it would, and I think the margin of victory was substantial. Yeah, it was. According to Eric Giordano, Tiffany, a state lawmaker since 2011, is closely aligned with President Donald Trump. He publicly tweeted about his congratulations Tuesday night following the win after a pandemic prevented the president from giving Tiffany a boost in person. But the Vice President, Mike Pence, had scheduled an appearance in the district for Tiffany in March, but canceled to remain in Washington due to the coup. I will do my very best to represent everybody in the 7th Congressional District out of Washington, D.C. Tiffany said in a victory speech on Facebook. I have one goal as I go to D.C., and it's to get America back up on her feet again. Okay, cool. Again, I don't see that statement anything really different than what a Democrat would say, but he'd probably say, climate change and, 85 genders, and well, at least this guy, stuck to the meat of the issue. Tiffany took District Population Center Marathon County with 59% of the vote after conservative-backed Justice Dan Kelly won by only 6 points in last month's election. State Democrats pointed to the 14-point win down from the previous 20-point win as a promising sign. Not really, because, again, if you look back on the California seat, the 25th district that Mike Garcia won, it flipped back the other way 22 points. Just in a special election with the coup going on. This doesn't really mean anything. Let's say when the coup sort of dies down ish, Republicans are going to come out, and people who want to see more of, I guess, Donald Trump in there and more people like Tom Tiffany, they're going to come out in droves. Right now, it's kind of like, it's a special election, but it tells you a lot about the Democrats and what it really tells you about Republicans. Democrats, if they really wanted to get out, they could have, but they didn't have it in them for some reason. Don't know. Tricia Zunker ran a terrific campaign. State Democrat Chairman Ben Wickler tweeted, and the GOP should be deeply nervous. I don't see why they would be nervous. They won it by 14 points, even though it wasn't a 20-point win such from Sean Duffy, who was the guy who resigned for no fault of his own because his daughter had a heart condition. Again, I just don't see they should be worried. Why should they be? They should be thrilled. They will make that 6-point number up come November. I'll have to, hopefully I don't eat my own words, but let's check it out. Zunker's campaign, which has been collecting signatures for November elections, but did not directly say on Tuesday whether she would run again, issued a statement on the results. I ran on affordable health care. Oh, God. Help for small businesses and family farmers and protecting our environment. And that message resonated with people throughout North. If it did, you would have won. But despite a global pandemic and the lack of universal mail-in voting, we showed that what can be done and laid the groundwork for the seat to turn blue in November. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Sean Duffy was a very popular politician and figure in 7th District in Wisconsin. And I think Tom Tiffany is, will meet that criteria, I guess. I mean, I don't see why. Continue on here. Zunker, 39 as attorney and president of the Wasau School Board. There you go. School Board. A justice on the Ho-Chunk Nation Supreme Court and a professor at 3 colleges, including 1 law school. Her endorsements included Democrat long seat holder Rep. Dave Obey, Warren of Massachusetts, Senator Tammy Baldwin, and a host of liberal groups, including Emily's List and Planned Parenthood. There you go. You got to have the death squad in there to give you the thumbs up. The 7th Congressional District has been in Republican control since 2011, after Rep. Sean Duffy won the district in 2010 after Rep. Obey's retirement, before going on to comfortably hold the seat in the following elections after maps were redrawn, following the 2010 census. Tiffany, 62, was born on a dairy farm in the district and ran a tourist boat business on the Willow Flowage for 20 years. Joining the legislature in 2011, he was a close ally of then Republican Governor Scott Walker, who voted to post the Anti-Union Law Act 10. He also voted in favor of legalizing concealed carry and moving the state forestry division to northern Wisconsin, pushed to locate open pit mine in northern Wisconsin that ultimately never came to the state. Seems pretty pro-business. Professor John Blakeman, chairman of the Political Science Department at UAE Stevens Point, said the margin of tonight's results could impact levels of Democratic motivation to compete for the seat in the fall. Even though the district's demographics have changed a little bit, they haven't changed enough to tip the balance of the district back towards the Democrats. I think that essentially is correct. Even though more blue staters or blue Democrats moved into the area, I don't, like I was saying, is that I don't think it'll tip it. Yeah, it went down 6 points. So you're going to say it's going to flip 28 on the other side? No, it's just not going to happen. I think if he runs again, which I assume he's going to, I think Mr. Tiffany is going to win. I don't see why he wouldn't. 7th Congressional District covers all portions of 26 counties in northern and northwest Wisconsin, unlike the April election where a federal ruling allowed a week's extension for ballots to be received. Absentee ballots sent by the election day but received afterwards will not be counted towards the results. Tiffany will serve the remainder of Duffy's term after Duffy resigned for family reasons last fall. Tiffany has begun collecting signatures to run again in November to serve a full 2-year term. Okay. I think that is it. Again, what does that say for November? I mean, I look at it this way. The Mike Garcia win is more has more to say than Tom Tiffany's. No, not to downplay Tom Tiffany's win. I think that the Mike Garcia win, they flipped it by, let's see, she won, I forgot the numbers, but I could look, but I'm not going to. She won by 8 points, and then Garcia won by 14. Now, again, that's not taking the full numbers that Katie Hill won or took, but let's just say he flipped it by conservatively 16 points. Let's just say round. So I don't see why he wouldn't do that again, especially if more Republicans get out there and vote. Even with the Democrats do get out, some might just go, screw it, don't care. Why did that happen in 2018 where Katie Hill, won? Well, for whatever reason, it just seems like midterm elections, people don't necessarily get out for them. They should. That's why the House flipped. Is that I don't think that many people had the desire to go out, even though they're like, whatever. They just didn't care. You should care. And honestly, you should go out and vote regardless if it's a special election or not, regardless of the conditions. If there's a worldwide fire, get out and vote. Yeah, I don't want you to vote for Democrats, but hey, get out and vote. I mean, that's just the thing. It's just going back on what I'm saying here is that I think these two seats will stay within Republican hands. Hopefully, these two guys will hold up to their what they said and what they campaigned on, and will follow through. But right now, we're in a weird time where you have Nancy Pelosi with her $3 trillion, whatever the hell it is, and she was trying to give money to illegal aliens and immigrants, if you will, like $1,200, just like we got. But then again, I don't know. They're going to vote against it, obviously. I mean, it's something I would vote against because it doesn't make any sense. Why would you give hard-earned tax money? Well, that's a whole different story, a whole other option. But that's day 61 in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed my day 60 video yesterday. It took me forever to do it because of the god awful freaking shortcut kept freaking crashing on me, and I had to figure it out to actually get it to work. But hey, that's anyways. I'll see you tomorrow on day 62.